Hey, what's up guys? I have a new build that I have been testing out yet again, and we will be combining two exotics to make this build work. Since the main exotic we will be using for this build will be RUINOUS EFFIGY, this build will only get better with time, especially when Lightfall drops. The reason for that is RUINOUS EFFIGY will be able to suppress champions come Lightfall, and that will just make this build even better when that happens. So let's take a deep dive straight into this build's overview. This build will give us unlimited ability energy spam, a way to drain nearby enemies in a cyclone around you, a nice 40% damage reduction while using the void transmutation spears that spawn from kills with the RUINOUS EFFIGY, and a way to regen your super very quickly. Let's jump straight into the void 3.0 setup. For the super, we have Nova Bomb, so we have a way to deal massive damage and proc devour if we are put inside of a nasty situation, and since we have crazy super regen, we don't need a healing rift, so we will pick up Empowerment Rift, Pocket Singularity, and Vortex Grenades. For the Aztec, we have Childhood with Old Gods, primarily so we can pick up 2 fragment slots and get a Void Soul as well. With this fragment, when our Void Soul drains a target, we will be granted Grenade and Ability Energy, so everything in this kit helps with ability regen. For the second and most important aspect, we have Feed the Void, so any Void ability final will grant us Devour, and any kills we get from any source will extend that duration. So when you see me get kills with the RUINOUS EFFIGY and pick up those Void Spears to purposely kill any enemies in my path, that procs Feed the Void, which resets the Devour timer. Now, we can get to the fragments of this build. First up is Echo of Explosion. So we can see those beautiful explosions that make Destiny 2 lag. The second fragment we do have is Echo of Exchange, so we can feed our grenade energy by getting melee kills. The third fragment we do have is Echo of Provision, so damaging targets with our grenades will grant us melee energy. This is the law of equivalent exchange. And fourth and final, for the last fragment slot, we do have Echo of Instability, so when we defeat targets with our grenades, our void weapons will be granted volatile rounds, and yes, this does include the void spears we will pick up. But that pretty much wraps up the Void 3.0 subclass, and everything we discussed will be in the dim link below in the description. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. And if you guys are enjoying the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. For the armor setup, we now have the second exotic of this build, which will be Nezarec Sin, which gives us the exotic per Abyssal Extractors. Void damage kills increase ability energy recharge rate. Don't forget the first law, we cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. We need to spam our abilities to gain our abilities back. Now, you remember when I mentioned a 40% damage reduction for this build? The way we make this happen is by using the Elemental Well mod, Well of Tenacity, on our gloves, which gives us a 40% damage reduction whenever we pick up a Void Elemental Well. To spawn those Void Elemental Wells, we will be using Elemental Ordnance on our helmet, which means any grenade final blows will spawn Elemental Wells which match our subclass. We're going to combine this with Elemental Time Dilation on our class item to extend the duration of that nice 40% damage reduction we're getting from picking up Void Elemental Wells using Well of Tenacity. And since we will be using a close range playstyle, we're going to pick up Seeking Wells, so those nice Void Elemental Wells that we will be spawning from using Elemental Ordnance on our helmet will track to us, so we don't have to worry too much about where they are or where they're located, and they're going to track straight to us and give us that nice 40% damage reduction. And now, since we are getting that nice 40% damage reduction, we are going to pick up Bountiful Wells on our feet, so that when we spawn one Elemental Well, it's not going to just spawn one, it's going to spawn 2 instead of 1, so you can pick up one and pick up the other one. And even since you are using Seeking Wells, those well mods are going to now track to you. That wraps up our armor, and for this build we want to build into 100 resilience and 100 discipline. To go into the weapon choice, the main weapon for this build will be the exotic RUINOUS EFFIGY with the intrinsic trait Transmutation. Final blows with this weapon collapse victims into void transmutation spears, and with the perk Evolution you have 3 different attacks. You have the light attack, which does the least damage, but this is the one you want to spam. You have the heavy attack, which does the most damage, but as soon as you pop it, it will use up all of the energy of the spear. And you have the Cyclone, which drains enemies in a vicinity. To use this weapon the right way, you want to use your drain ability when surrounded by enemies. Then pick a target, any target, and then start light attacking the enemy until your spear will round up energy. So once your spear gets to around 5 to 3 energy, that's when you want a heavy attack, so you're able to do the maximum damage. Now you guys have a complete idea of how to use this build. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.